date, the instructor, all of those components.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
That could be. And
Yeah.
so it would just automatically go ahead and do a GRI or do a designation or certification, since
So-
all those things are input.
That's a great question. The short answer is yeah, sure, that's awesome. Yeah, we told you that. The long answer is it's going to take time. And then two, it also will move into what we're going to talk about in a second, which is online registration, because we need a consistent way that you guys are actually registering people, so that way we can have a consistent way that the marketing message looks. We are moving to online registration. We have some great intelligence this year as opposed to last year. When we kind of talked about the pie in the sky idea, dream with me, we do have much more tactile things that we can do with online registration. The best part is we can create the tool and we can use e-commerce, so it's all your money, your account. We just have the interface that people are using, and you tell us, this is the class, the day, time, and cart, and I want to offer online registration. You click that button, it has more options, any early registration, any non-member registration, partial refunds, full refunds, all the special accommodations. It has all that stuff in there. And when you hit save, it's now there. They register. It's all in your e-commerce bucket, and it all is yours. We don't touch it at all. Yes.
That person. So if it's in all e-commerce, can you take your portion out of it?
Technically, yeah, we could. Technically, the only reason why I might not is because going back to the idea of having full authority and autonomy over your classes, is that you will have the ability to, if somebody chooses to, or is registered the day of the class, and let's say there's no refunds, you can still, somebody gets massively sick or is in a car accident or some crazy thing happens, right? We don't ever want to be in a position where we're telling you, I'm sorry, we're going to take their money anyway. And so we would much rather you finalize the class, and then we could potentially take it. But we're going to wait till it's all done before you do that.
How about that? Then once the class is done, is there just a way just to just go ahead and give you your money for that?
So what we can
Without having to
do,
do all of the invoices and.
I'm going to just go out on a limb because I'm not in accounting and say, yeah, absolutely. We can totally do it. I would assume that you could actually set it up to where you could even split the revenue, to where it goes to you and our fee can also go to us. I'm sure that we can set up as a liability account, so it's not actually in your budget, it just goes directly to us through the liability account. I bet we could probably figure something out like that, but I'd have to talk to our accounting department just to make sure, because me and accounting, we don't get along. And so I'd much rather make sure that they're okay with it first. But my assumption is that we could set it up however you want. You tell us what you want to do and how you want to do it, and we could probably do that. Because it's yours.
They want their money.
Yeah. I would assume that would be the easiest thing, right? So then we're not saying, hey, here's all your money. Oh, hey, can you pay us? And so it would make sense, but we can check just to make sure.
What's the time frame on that? I'm sorry.
Between now and June 8th, 2020. And so we have some things we have to work through because it's still involving money. And so we have to make sure the accounting is all right. And we have a project we're working on that's ancillary to this that will help feed that process. So our expectations between now and next year, that should be, we will either make major advancements or it should be done.
So is it going to be something like where a lump sum will come back to us? It's not going to be a, I want to make sure I understand. So they're actually registering through you.
The interface will be ours. The money will be yours.
Right,
And
so you calculate the money and then that comes back to us through our e-commerce system?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions that I can hopefully answer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So ebooks, online registration. I feel like there's something else, but I can't remember it, so we're going to keep going. And if I remember, I'll jump up and tell you later. Any other questions about CART in general? Keep in mind, these are all ideas we're moving toward. We're not there yet. So, but our goal is to continue to enhance it to make it a better experience for you guys as a whole. So ebooks and online registration are going to be great. Access to CART beforehand is coming. It's within the next 2 weeks. You will have access to be able to do whatever you need to do with CART. I don't know if how many of you know about the local association Find a Course features that we have? Anybody? Okay. So just really quick, when you add things to CART by de facto, it obviously shows up on our website and people can find it through the Find a Course feature. We found, again, if this is your information, we want to give it back to you. And a lot of people are duplicating efforts because they have to go put it on their website or in another place like that. We created these website URLs. They're specific to your association. So when you add something to CART, it automatically shows up into a version of Find a Course that's only your associations. And so if you are putting it already on your database or in your putting it on the website in the second place, this might be an option that you would be interested in doing, because then once you put it one time in the cart, you already have access to it on another page. If you're interested in that, instead of spouting out these long URLs, just send us an email and to education@techresources.com, and we'll make sure and send it to you in case you want to see it and see if it's something you might be interested in doing and putting on your website so you're not duplicating efforts. Any other questions? Let's see if I'm done. Web links. Hey, what do you know? I just talked about that. There's website URLs that I just talked about. FastPass. Talked about that. We're trying to redo it and to make it better for you. We'll let you know as soon as we do have a beta testing of that, which I think is going to be a lot easier to use. We don't have to worry about Excel spreadsheets anymore, as far as that's concerned. It all keeps it all contained within the website. And sign in. Oh, this is one thing, really quick. You don't have to have people to sign into a class, just so you know. That's not required by the Real Estate Commission officially. You have to see their photo ID. So if you're looking at these sign-in sheets, don't worry about those. That's why we stopped using them, because it's kind of a pain. And so we're trying to get rid of paperwork altogether. Moji.
Oh, the cart. So if, for example, our members like seeing all the classes all in one, so they're still going to go into our database to look at it,
Sure.
because we have some courses on Texas Realtor course. So is there a way in cart, if I enter all that information and I have all the text, to grab the HTML code so then I can put it into our system? And then that way it will include the link, so if they want to register, it will just default into this new cart system, or no? Could that be possible?
You're making my head hurt.
Sorry.
So
Either now or later.
yeah, so at the end of the day, when you're talking about technology, anything's possible, right? Just about. And so now it's a matter of time and resources more than anything else. API is the way of the future. It's amazing because you can have your own system and language and whatever you're doing, and we have ours, and we find the things that are connected, and it just automatically connects them together. So is it possible we can set up an API for you guys to have access to the stuff that you're putting in the cart, you put into your own website? It's possible, sure. You know, timing is a whole different conversation. And so we're keeping our IT guys pretty daggone busy over this next year with all this different stuff that we're going on. So the possibility of a registration form and the possibility of the connection, is it possible? Yeah, it's going to be after June 8th, and so of next year. And so it'll take a bit because we're bogging them down with a lot of stuff that we've talked about it for a long time and we're tired of talking. We want to see it, and we want to make sure it's something that's a benefit to you guys. So yes, anything is possible. What we can do is offline, we'll figure out, okay, what system do you use, what system do we use, how can we potentially set up APIs to make that happen. So it's possible, we just gotta figure out a way. Any other questions? Same thing with registration forms, or flyers, or marketing collateral of any capacity. We should be able to connect it, sure, we just gotta find a way. This is really quick, because I'm way over my time, and they shouldn't have put me first, I'm sorry. I talk faster at the end of the day. So just really quick, we have this broadcast calendar for people who participate in broadcast classes. Everybody knows you can go into the template, you can add a class, no one shows up, no big deal, no harm, no foul. The calendar, we used to do it on the sheets in a quarterly schedule, and it was so difficult to maintain that we moved to the Google Calendar now. So we've had a lot of questions about that, and so I just want to clarify really quick. When you look at the Google Calendar, anybody can go look at the calendar anytime, and you can look way past the quarter that's advertised, because we have classes through the end of the year, and we're in the next month or so. I'd be very surprised if we don't see have things in 2020. And so there are a lot of instructors who like to book way in advance, and so they'll be out there really soon. By the end of July, we will have 2020 GRIs on the calendar as well, and so it'll be out there for you guys to know. We don't open a quarter; they're all open. You can look at them and you can schedule them all day, every day. We close quarters. What that means is 2 months before the class ends, hopefully, or before the quarter begins, 2 months before the quarter begins, we close it, which means that we're not changing anything anymore. That's all it means. So we're not adding more classes. If somebody gets sick, obviously we have to cancel, because we can't fix that, but we're not adding more classes. So that's all that means. You're always welcome to go look and see what's out there way in advance. We just close the quarter 2 months before it begins. So that way you don't have to keep going back and checking and checking and checking. It's going to be this or less. That's it. Any questions about that? I think I'm on my last one. No. I want to tell one more thing before we play a game. So the other thing we were going to move to that I didn't see in here, and it might be later in the day, but I'm going to tell you right now because it's really exciting because it goes under cart and updates. We are moving to an environment where we're pushing to paperless all around. Obviously, we don't have the course completion officers anymore. We're trying to get rid of books. We're trying to automate all this for you guys so we can be in the business of education, not administration. The one thing that we're really moving to, and this will actually happen before the end of June, we should be beta testing online exams and evaluations. So when somebody takes a GRI class, they will need access to a device to be able to take the test in the room, so not going home. It's not online as in you go take it whenever. They're in the room with you as proctors. Once they take the test, they actually get a notice that they have passed, and they get access to their certificate of completion that day. So, no more, you send us paperwork about all the exams, we grade them, we get around to getting it back to them, and then they get the certificates, lose the email, it's all that day. And so the nice thing about it is nothing's more irritating when you go through all this process to get some kind of a credential, and you wait 4 to 5 days to 2 weeks, and it's really irritating. By then you already forgot what you did. And so this one is that day. That's our goal. And so what that means for you guys is you don't have to upload that information to CART anymore. So there's no more exams to upload.
And you said that's coming when?
We should be beta testing that by June 30th of this year. It's already underway. Thanks to Mike. I think you just stepped out a second ago. Mike Crowley actually had this idea. He goes, hey, have you heard of this application? It's really cool. And we looked at it and we're like, yeah, it is really cool. It's a little bit more complicated because it's not a direct connection. We don't know who your people are. So we got to figure that out. So it took us a while, but now we have it and we're already testing it. So hopefully by June 30th we can start using it.
But they will need bandwidth for that.
They will, yes. So the bandwidth thing is still an issue.
And a device.
And a device.
So they
If-
have to be instructed to bring something.
We're still working on options to figure out alternative solutions. We will still have paper copies. Obviously, we're always going to have paper copies. Like if you think about it, the nice thing is we won't have rush fees anymore because you can't get any faster than the same day. And so no more rush fees. But incompletes, however, we wouldn't have a way to access that to give it to them because they're when they come back to take the test, they're not part of the class, and CART's all based upon the class. So we have to figure that part out. So there's always going to be a level of paper copies of some capacity. It's just a matter of how's that going to work. And so the concerns that you have, we ask you, one, you say now, or two, send us emails as you think about it as time goes on, saying, hey, this is something we thought about, but when we got back to the office, we wanted to, kind of troubleshoot with that because we don't want to make more work for you. That's not our goal. But what we do want to do is get the ability to get people things faster to them that's already there in the first place. If you took the exam, we would assume that you can also get the certificate that day.
So going back to the folks who want paper, so we'll still have paper exams for those who say, well, I can't use a computer, I'm not good on that, so I just need my pen and paper. So we will continue to have that and upload that for AI.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, we'll have to, I will say this as a general statement, at some point in time, we would have to draw a line. At some point in time, the naysayers are gonna have to get on board eventually. I mean, computers are the way it is, and so, now that doesn't mean it has to be this year or next year. So it's not something we're saying, hey, we're drawing the line in the sand, once we come up with this option, this is the way it is. No, we recognize that, one, we don't wanna put you in a lurch, to where you're having to try and explain to people what we're trying to do. We want to give time for people to be able to understand, or maybe people retire, or, I mean, options, lots of options, but
I think if we're that will
pave the way.
Right.
But don't most of them do online classes? If they can do an online class, they shouldn't do that.
Exactly.
Won't assume. So, I've learned that, it's amazing what people can and can't do as time goes on, but I will say this, really fast before I get to emoji, the exams and the evaluations will all be moving to an online platform. And what that means for GRI in particular is that please, when you add a GRI class, please put the instructors and the day and the order in which you are scheduling them. Most people follow the book, and that's fine, but if you know that you want somebody to be on seller services on a specific day, we're going to give people access to the seller services evaluation on the day that you told us. So if it's day 3, it's day 3. If it's day 2, it's day 2. And that way we can make sure in alignment with our system. That's also going to help too because instructors at this point might wait some time before they get the evaluations from us. And now, instantaneous. They're going to get it immediately. So that way they don't have to wait. They're going to get their evaluations the day of. That way they know how they did as they're walking out the door. Emoji first.
I was gonna say, Loretta had a good point as far as people who are up to their day renewal, you know, they wait till the last minute, they need it, that would be a great, aspect for them. I also think it'll be a great aspect because I know there are some people that are test anxiety, and so they wanna know whether they pass right then and there. So I have two questions for you. First of all, if someone does not pass and make, you know, their 70 or above, do they get an opportunity to retest that day, or will they have to schedule another day to take the exam?
Yeah, that's a truck rule. So the Texas Real Estate Commission requires that you have to wait 7 days after the first time you pass, or first time you failed. You have to wait 7 days to be able to take it again.
So we'll get a new link for those individuals?
Well, at this time, any makeup or failed, you would have to do it individually in paper at this time. I don't know how to tie it to the class yet. I'm not that smart, but we'll figure it out. But so far, today, they would get a paper copy.
Okay.
But we're talking about like 6 people in Texas in a year. And so most people pass, like most people pay attention.
Now, with the application, so I know college, usually when you take some kind of online course, when you open up some kind of application, it blocks you from opening anything else. Would that be kind of the system that you have in place? Or can they pull up other things and we just have to do a better job monitoring it and probably have more people in the class so as we walk around?
It is never expected that you have to do more than what you're doing now. So if you are not monitoring, exactly as you were monitoring them right this minute, that's exactly how we expect you to monitor them during the time. My assumption is with the time constraint, one, people want to get out of there. And so they're going to move as fast as they can. I've never seen them take more than an hour and a half. And so, okay, one person, that was really annoying. But then everybody else, just 60 questions, really guys? And so, most people don't take forever, generally speaking. And then two, even if they try to look online, you're going to be spending a lot more time looking online trying to get an answer to one question when in fact they probably already know the answer. And so, the short of it is, we don't expect you to take extra time, and we don't expect you to for them to take the test, so you can actually put a time limit. And you can say, look, we're done at 5. I'm leaving because my clock stops at 5. And they will move a lot faster at that point. And then also, you don't have to actually go around and check what they're looking at. If they want to try and peruse and try and find an obscure answer somewhere that day, you're welcome to try that, I suppose. But you're not going to find those answers. They're obscure questions. So, in addition to that, if we do have the ability to block it down, we will, just because we want to try and be cognizant of your time. And if they have access to it, there will be that one person that's going to try and look up every answer. And they're going to take 7 hours, and we don't want that. So we will, if we have the ability to block it, we will. Any other questions? Okay, bandwidth is a potential issue. We recognize that. Paper copies for those who still want paper copies. Our goal is to hopefully move to an environment to make things more streamlined. And so any other ideas or comments or questions regarding that, please let us know, because we're here to help. And with that, any questions? I'm officially done. All right, now we get to play. All right, Shannon. Thank you.
Alright, so we're going to draw for a GRI kit, lunch kit. And it's got a nice little water bottle in it, a notebook, as well as a USB port. So. Mickey Williams! And we're going to do one more for time's sake. We've got a $50 Amazon card. Oh, now you're excited. Catchy book.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Alright, we're going to bring Gregory up. We're going to do some adjustments because we do want you to ask all of the questions and get all the information you need. So we're just going to keep this agenda fluid if you all are okay with that. Gregory's going to come up now to do his portion, and then after Gregory we'll have another drawing and then we'll break for lunch.
Put your name back in. That's even more. Of course, right?
Good morning, how's everyone doing? Because I'm the guy in our department with no personality that gave me the moral. And as John talked about things far, far away in the galaxy somewhere else, maybe someday, eventually, I'm going to bring us back to the dirty here and now. SAE versus CE. Everybody in the room knows the fundamental difference, right? Between SAE and CE. Unfortunately, a lot of our members do not. I've gotten calls where someone has said, can you tell me how many more hours I need to, in time for my registration, my renewal? And I said, sure, no problem. Pull their record up on track. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay. You need to take 30 hours of SAE credit. And their response was, well, I've taken 18. Do I need to take just 12 more? Like, no. SAE are 30-hour courses in and of themselves. And of course, this individual had taken 18 hours of CE credit, thinking the 30 could be comprised by taking 12 more hours. Of course, for us, our SAE courses are the 3 GRI courses, and also we have a course entitled Realtor Launch that's also an SAE course. The main thing, especially with the GRI and the Realtor Launch, I think everybody has a copy of this in their folder. One of the primary things that we always want them to look at and be aware of are the course policies. And they're always in the introduction of the GRI manual. And basically the course policies are a quick down and dirty synopsis of what TREC requires, how to handle incomplete coursework or makeup provisions, and that has changed significantly with the onset of us having recorded the GRI sessions. And I think we've got every session of GRI currently recorded on our YouTube channel. So basically, if a person missed a day of GRI, they had to make it up, usually at another association, within 90 days of the end of their original class. With video, they can now, even within the span of taking their current class, if it's timed right, like if you're doing GRI, you have 2 days this week and 2 days next week. If they miss it the first day, 1 or 2, between that day and the start of the next 2 days of the class, they can watch the video for the session that they missed and still be on time to complete their current GRI class. And that alleviates that whole 90 days having to figure out what's 90 days, where can I go, where can I find the current class. Especially when you get close to the end of the year and classes are less scheduled, it's hard to find a GRI class. For the GRI, we still kind of, let me see what else is on here. I think I covered primarily the makeup provisions where letting them know that now they can take the video to make up the class, and there's no makeup charge related to that if they do it within the same time frame of the original class. If for some reason they have to make it up and the current class has concluded, then the makeup fee provision would go into effect, where they would pay TA, Texas Realtors, a $50 makeup fee, and then they would still have to find some way to make up the missed class date and class topic that they missed. Sign-in sheets for GRI, we would still like those. And of course, they'll come in your packet of information, the core monitor guidelines that we send out with every GRI class. We still like to get these as for a sign-in sheet, but I think in time we're going to move away from these as well. Have you gone into your cart and seen where some classes say transmitted and some don't? Going back to the difference between SAE and CE. The ones that have the big transmitted stamp on them, those are all CE classes. SAE requires a course completion certificate, which the student must submit to TREC to get credit. That's why those classes do not have transmitted on them when you see them in the cart. Have you ever done a GRI class and somebody asked you for one of these? Because I only need CE credit. And they've asked for this. Tell them, no. We're done with it. We're tired of these. We're done with them. Primarily because they are going away. But as it relates to SAE, it's not required, because for an SAE class, it doesn't matter if the student only needs CE credit. It's the classification of the course set by TREC. So GRIs per TREC are SAE classes, and you only get credit by submitting the course completion certificate. So if they only need CE credit, they still have to, after completing the class, get their certificate and submit that to TREC. And that completion certificate will cover their CE electives. Whatever the CE elective number is at the time, an SAE course has always covered the CE elective. So they always need to still take their legal 1 and 2, and if applicable, take broker responsibility. This lovely item right here, this is the completion summary. So basically, instead of writing us long emails like people used to do in the past to tell us how many people were in the class, who missed the day, if I had coupons, and sending in those GRI coupons, you can notate all that information on the course completion summary. And this is actually a 2-sided page, I believe, yes. So basically here on the front, you will list all the number of attendees that completed all 4 days of the GRI. You will show anyone who missed a day and missed 1 day. An SAE class, if a person misses 2 days per TREC rules, they are automatically dropped from the class. There is no makeup provision for missing 2 days of an SAE class. But you would list anyone who was dropped and the actual number of coupons. If you believe they have a coupon, if they don't have the physical coupon, but they say they're eligible and you grant them the discount, just make us aware of that, and when we process it, we'll know whether or not they actually have ever used a coupon in the past, and then we'll address the issue if there's something that needs to be done. Yeah, John, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask, can you address the rolling registration option?
Oh, the rolling registration option. If for some reason someone has an issue and they can't complete the class, you have the discretion to offer them the option of rolling that fee to another class. So like I say, if they, for some reason, something happens, like there's a major accident, or someone gets hurt in their family and they have to leave and they can't finish the class, as opposed to a cash or financial refund, you can offer them the option of rolling that registration to the next GRI class.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Add one thing.
So really that boils down to money. That's really what it is. So if you are rolling the registration to the next class, don't put them on the course completion summary. They're now no longer part of that class. Yes, they took time in the course, but they're now moved to the next one and they start over with that one. And most importantly, you don't pay us the $100 fee. They're now part of the next class, not this one. So if you guys choose to do that because you have the kindness of your heart, you have circumstances, they have circumstances beyond your control, and you want to do that, that's fine. The short of it is, if you're going to keep their money and charge them for the class and they have to start all over and pay more money later, then we want our part. And if not, then we're willing to forego our part because we recognize that things happen. And we want to give you the autonomy and authority to do that. So that's what that means.
Okay. He just likes talking about money, so I get so basically on the summary sheet again, you list people who were incomplete, their name and their license number, people who had coupons, if someone comes to your location to make up a day, you would put their name here because they are not part of your class because they started the class at another association and they're just coming to do makeup work. So they would not be part of your class. If they should happen to take the test with you, you want to notate that so we know that that individual was making up a day, but we do have their test included. Because depending on what day they're making up, they may just come and make up the day and then return to their own association to actually take the test. And then lastly, on the back, again, it's just listing, I mentioned that coupons. Also, you may have someone who's currently inactive come and take a class because they're trying to get reactivated with TREC. They will not be able to access our website, ergo they will not be able to access their completion certificate. So you want to put their name and license number on here so we know to be on the lookout for that person or reach out to them to be able to get them their completion certificate so they can send that into TREC to get credit for the class. Card submission as it relates to not CE, but the qualifying courses, the GRIs. All we need in CART right now is this completion summary. Yes?
Can that be a PDF and fillable?
Can this be a PDF and fillable? I don't see why not.
I I can create that and put it on the website for you all to access, yes.
Okay, PDF, soon to be PDF and fillable, the completion summary. But as it relates to CART and SAE classes, as far as what you would submit into the CART, beyond entering their license number, you would submit the test answer sheets, just the test answer sheets, not the actual exams, but only the test answer sheets, the evaluations for each day. So kind, it would make Eric really happy if you did the evals individually, like each individual day of evals, because GRI, unlike CE classes, each day gets evaluated because it's a different topic for each day. But the test answer sheets, the evaluations each day, and then the course completion summary. And that's really all you need to upload along with the license numbers of the participants. And once you've got all that in the cart, you send it to us and we process it and we get them their information about the completion certificates and they go forward. Yes?
What if they're from out of state? I always get, when we're submitting, if they're coming from Tennessee or wherever, and they take the GRI with us, do we just, how do we put that on the course completion?
That would go into the cart, and there's an exceptions, comments section in the cart. So you would say this individual, for some reason, decided to come to Texas and spend money and take GRI with us. But that's where you could put that. And the notifications and track credit goes back to what I mentioned earlier, in the sense that when you look in the cart, the classes that aren't stamped transmitted, that's because they are GRI, SAE classes, and then track credit is earned by the student submitting their completion certificate. So if someone calls you and says, hey, my GRI isn't showing up on track, first question, did you happen to submit your completion certificate? Oh, I thought you guys did that. Yeah. Because in a lot of ways, they will still think, especially if they've taken CE courses as well, where that credit gets submitted for them, then they think the GRI process is exactly the same and it will be submitted for them. But they would have to either go to our website and download their completion certificate, or if they can't download it because of being inactive, contact us so we can get them a copy of the certificate so they can submit it to TREC for credit. CE process. Big change, of course, is no longer needing the course completion roster. One of the things that you can do, if you don't have, because John is talking about Fast Pass, and we'll get into that even more. At this point, you can have a simple Excel spreadsheet if you want to create it, and put their license number. If you want to put their name, just to make sure you've got everything matched up, that's fine. And then simply copy and paste those license numbers from the spreadsheet into CART. And that basically covers the completion roster. So get that in, and then any supporting documentation related to that particular CE class, such as evaluations. And again, the notification will be, it will be stamped once you send it to us and we transmit it to TREC. That's when the transmitted stamp goes across that class in CART. And then of course, as we're moving into everything being literally electronic, to it's almost instantaneous, that when we press a button, you press a button, it gets to us, we press another button, and it's at TREC, and it's posted. I mean, the very same day it is posted. We do still have up to 9 days to submit things to TREC, but it's highly unlikely. Only thing that would cause that to happen would be sheer volume and a major power outage, and we couldn't access our computers. But literally, the day we get classes, usually within 2 days, that information has been submitted to TREC, and those credits are posted. But I don't know if we should tell members that, because they'll wait till the day before to decide, I need to take this class, and so we can't share everything with them. We just want to make their lives better.
Hey Gregor, can I ask something real quick?
Yes.
So what we will tell you is that generally speaking, if you have a class on one day, I usually send it to TREC the next morning, first thing in the morning, and then I wait a while. If I have extra time, I do it. Otherwise, it's usually every morning that I'm in the office. There are times I might take vacation or be sick, and I might take a little extra time. What you can do is, if you have somebody whose license is about to expire and they need credit, send an email to education@texasrealtors.com saying, I just put it in this class, please push this through. Okay, and we'll do it. If we know there's a time sensitivity, we can easily take advantage of, that we all have access to it and we can send it. Generally speaking, we don't get in a hurry because we have 9 days, we're good, we can make sure that we get everything over. Sometimes I found it's good to wait a day because inevitably somebody put something wrong. And so I wait a day and then I send it in. So if for whatever reason you have a crunch time, if somebody needs it into the commission, please send an email to education@texasresources.com and we will send it over.
How many of you know REBAC changed their name? Yeah. They are now the Center for Specialized Realtor Education. But of course, all REBAC classes and REBI used to be CRB, and now they are the Real Estate Business Institute. But basically, these are our third-party CE classes that we offer under our provider. And we are, in that capacity, strictly the CE provider. So you process any of these classes. There's no special way to process them. You process them as you normally would through the cart as a CE class. But one of the questions that will come up, somebody will say, how do I know what my standing is? When am I going to get my PSA or my ADR? We're going to add to our designation and certifications page the link to the requirements for those particular designations and certifications, so they can go and look and see, okay, what else do I need to do beyond taking the class to get this particular designation or certification, and then who to contact to verify their status and where they are. Because we're not the administrators of those particular designations and certifications, so we don't maintain that type of information. We process the CE, remit that to TREC, and then we remit the course completion rosters, which are really Excel spreadsheets, to, I still want to call them REBAC. We submit those to REBAC for them to then update the NERDS records of those course participants to show that they've completed that particular class. And again, we'll have links on our website to take them to the website related to those particular classes and designations and certifications, so they can see what the remaining requirements may be. To help them understand that if it's a designation, it's usually a 2-day class that requires, after you meet all the requirements, usually the first year of membership is free, and then there's an annual fee after that. For certifications, which are usually 1-day classes, it's simply an application fee and possibly some additional requirements, like the MRP is the Military Relocation Professional Certification. There are a couple of videos they have to watch and a couple of other things, and they submit their application and the one-time fee, and that's it, and they have it. But for like ADR, SRES, and SRS, 2-day classes, there's additional requirements to meet the full requirements to earn the designation, and then after the first year, there will be an annual fee to keep it active. Because we've had people call and said, my ADR isn't active, and my first question is, have you paid your annual fee? And
So
some people
they are made aware of all this. We don't have to remember.
You don't have to remember. You don't have to remember all
Okay.
this. And if you do, you can tell them to call me, and I'll
Thank
graciously
God.
walk them through it. Well, yeah, CIPS is technically under this, yes, it's an NAR. CIPS and At Home with Diversity are NAR designation and certifications, but the premise of applying and how the information is submitted to TREC and to NAR is still the same. It's just that big warehouse umbrella where they have all these designations and certifications that they pass through. Yes, John?
Yeah, so CIPS and At Home Diversity actually do run through REBAC, so they operate in the same fashion, but they are independent of the REBAC grouping. They just process things for us. The two things I was going to mention, one, the easiest way I can remember designation versus certification on the national level is you can buy a certification and you lease a designation. So if you have to pay every year, it's a designation on the national level. That's something that's easy that you can hopefully tell people. The second thing is the whole idea about expediency and getting information to you. If it takes us a few days, when we send it to NAR, it takes a year. It takes forever. And so our goal is to actually work with them, and we're actually talking with them to hopefully get the information to them faster, which means that the people can get their information faster. Because how many times do they call you saying, hey, I want to move forward with the MRP, but I can't get access to the webinars? That happens. And we're trying to make that faster for everybody. So even though we're talking Texas specific right now, we're also trying to work with NER saying, hey, we found a faster way of doing things. Can we partner together to get this done a lot faster? Because especially in Texas, we don't want to wait that long if we can help it. So I just want to throw that out there. That's what we're working on.
And one other great thing, especially for the Center of Specialized Military Education, CSRE, there are no more exams for any of their classes. And I think we just got the notification a couple weeks ago that they finally decided that CIPS would no longer require exams. So ABR, SRS, SRES, no more exams are required for those.
For
Yes.
classes this year or the future?
Now,
What?
period.
Okay.
Period.
So we have a class scheduled for like, let's say next month, we don't have.
Oh, no exam. I will not be sending you any exams, or Eric will not be sending you. And you don't have to like, wait a minute, where are my exams? You don't need it. One of the main reasons that they, well, there were two reasons initially why they had exams attached. They wanted them to, of course, test their knowledge to make sure they understood what they had learned in the class. And there are some states, Texas not being one, that require exams for students to earn CE. But they found out more and more that more and more states don't require the exam for CE, so now the exam at one point then became optional if it was only if it was required in your state, and then it got to the point where exams just really not needed. So that's where we are with that. And then also for REDI, that also still applies, that applies as well. There are no exams for their classes either. Any questions?
For the video makeup, just kind of go back.
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone using that? I mean, are they just recorded videos?
Well, no, but they're from actual classes.
No, I know, but so there's just kind of honor system that they watch 8 hours worth of class?
Yeah, but you still kind of monitor them. You still treat it like it's a live classroom experience because you don't want them in there with the video running and them.
Okay, so you have them do it at the association?
Oh yes, absolutely. Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I was just curious.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
And we walk in, and we walk in and out.
Okay.
Okay, Kathy and then John.
Oh, okay. Talking about the makeups, we've been doing several of those, and we were like saying, man, it's getting out of hand. And I'm looking at this, are we just supposed to be paying TAR for makeup?
No, you, the association?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, because it says on your processing fee payable to TAR.
that's for the individual student.
Right. So we should have been charging them if they come in and do a makeup.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Technically, yes.
Good, because that's what we're fixing to do. Now we're just gonna blame TAR for it. Because that's ridiculous. It's like, oh, I got a hair appointment, I gotta go, oh, I got this. I'm like, you can't do this because you're doing a GRI 3 weeks after the GRI. It's been awful.
Hair appointment.
Well, I mean, not really, but it feels like that.
That's important.
That sounds right.
That's their closing.
The course policies do say that you have the right to charge for makeup revisions and exam retakes, or takes, as the case may be, if it's outside the context of a normal class. The whole premise of everything that we do, the more work we do, the more we charge. The more work you do, the more we expect you to charge.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense, right? And so if they're taking up your time and resources for somebody to come in and to make up the time, yeah, 100% you can charge. Our fee, we don't require you to collect because it's simply a pass-through. We'll get it from them or they don't get a certificate. And so we're not worried about it. We'll get it from them.
Oh, so y'all are charging them?
Yes.
So these makeup people are gonna get a bill from y'all? We don't know it?
Oh, yeah. And they pay it or they don't get a certificate.
Oh.
It's in the course policies, which is page I every PRI book. And so it's also in the real launch as well. And so it indicates in there that, hey, don't miss. It's just that simple.
Yeah, well, we're fixing to kind of.
The only way that
fee
will be forgoed for a waive is if they actually do the makeup revision before the class ends. So let's say you do a Wednesday, Thursday class, and you have the next one Wednesday, Thursday, and miss the first Thursday, they technically have Friday, Monday, and Tuesday they can make up those days.
That's what they're doing, yeah.
And if that happens for one day, not two, you can't do two. If they do it for one day, we don't necessarily count that as a makeup because we're getting their exam just like we get everybody else's. And so from our standpoint, we're not charging because we're not doing anything else. It's the same as any other class.
It's just those last 2 days, if they make it up outside that time frame, y'all send them a bill.
And technically, well, as of today, we'll move to online exam just for conversation, but as of today, if they miss the last day, and they can now because we have a recording come in the next day, and you turn it in, it's still within your 2 business day time frame, it's still not a makeup. because we're still not
Okay,
doing
'cause
anything
that's what we
outside of the
started
norm.
We kind of put on our calendar when we're gonna let them make it up, cause we were like spreading it out, like this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
you can
we
say
are
makeup
nailed it
once a
down.
month on this day, and that's the way it is. Sorry, Trevor, and that's okay. Whatever you guys gotta do.
I like that, okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
That'll help.
Any other questions? All right, I think, Shannon's gonna pull a prize and then we're gonna do lunch.
Alright, so the next prize is gonna be 54 of you are gonna win $50 off your next invoice, education invoice.
And where is my namesake, Greg Hadsel?
We'll email that to Greg. You got $50 off your next invoice. Alright, so Rosie.
And the winner is Williamson County, Miss Debbie Moran. Okay, we're not gonna tell her.
Yes, she's not here, so we have to draw one more time. Umberto! So I'll be emailing all 4 of you the discounts. Make sure that you know, email letting you know you have it, so you can use it at any time that you go. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and take a break now and get ready for lunch, and we'll convene in about an hour. So you all.
That's just because I was that. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. I'm not understanding here.